Hi, this is Jace. Uh, I am continuing to create a public record of my case, following a quote from Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada. When rules no longer protect you, you have few options and you need to protect yourself. I have escaped persecution, torture, and violence from the United States by the United States government. I have been blocked from employment in the United States and outside the United States. I have been blocked from protection outside the United States. I was tortured outside the United States. I was harmed outside the United States as I was harmed inside the United States. And as of now, I am in Canada. My protection request or asylum seeking request or refugee claim was rejected. And it's an attempt, it's a relentless effort from the United States government to force me back to the United States, where I was persecuted for years, where I was tortured, where they would try to kill me in a staged accident and falsified the report. This is from the FBI website. It's mentioned clearly that foreign governments may use transnational repression tactics to coerce them to return to the country of origin. The United States government, represented by its intelligence and investigative agencies, the CIA, aided by the FBI, is in relentless mission to destroy my believability, to destroy my asylum claims, to break my bones outside the United States, to force me back to the United States, to silence me not to speak up. And all governments till now, foreign governments, they help them to try to force me back to the United States. Following Mark quote, I am only left to share my case publicly. Since this is a covert operation by the CIA, the only protection left is visibility. So, accusing the CIA of extraction, why it was an extraction. This is episode 10, why it's extraction. I'll discuss about tactics and cognitive dissonance. The main critical weapon that the CIA relies on, that the United States is a complete different culture, it's a complete different land. It's a Western life, it's a Western world, right? So like a Truman's show, as the Dr. Ramani said, we are the straightforward people in their show. So they use the United States as their show. Police officers, fire department, blah, 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 all right? And in my case, why it was an extraction. So as I mentioned before, I've been to the United States twice, 2 decades ago, in 2008 and 2009. I sat for my CB exams and left. Under so much pressure from Americans themselves who live in the United States, they asked me, you can stay, everybody break the visa. Under the pressure of my friends who were living there in New York, the Arabs I even get introduced to, and the pressure of my family, I did not overstay my visa in the United States. I had no dreams to have an American life. I had no dreams to be an American citizen. I did not even go outside my hotel to take photos in New York City, explore New York City, how it looks like. I finished my exams and I have left, right? And so I had nothing to do with any American dream when I was young. Even in 2016, before 2016, I was learning Turkish and I was offering my help as a native Arabic speaker, right? So I met my ex-wife, the American wife, on a language learning app. She was learning Arabic, so they were targeting Arabs, right? And I was living with a Turkish girlfriend in Istanbul. She was the one who actually it's like, so I had a student visa to learn Turkish language, but to remain, she had something in the court or some kind of procedure. I had these papers to let me stay with her, right? So I was living with my own Turkish girlfriend, learning Turkish on this app and trying to teach them Arabic because I was Muslim at that time and they are also Muslims, they learn Arabic and stuff like that, right? So my marriage to the United States citizen, my ex-wife, has nothing to do with me trying to get in touch with Americans, right? When the economy was down in Egypt after the revolution of Egypt, the nearest growing economy closer to me was Turkey. I had the visa at that time. Before that time for a while, I knew that things were going really bad at that time, but I did not even travel back to the United States. So before moving to the United States to get married, 3 years before that, I had the options to travel again and even regret that I did not overstay my visa and I could have went back. So my marriage to this woman had nothing to do that with me even to chase any American dream online or marrying an American woman online. She was learning Arabic, I was learning Turkish, she met me online, and things happened, right? Even in the US Embassy in Cairo, they interviewed me in Turkish language to prove that what I'm saying, that I was learning Turkish, she was learning Arabic, is true, right? Even in my USC, United States Citizenship and Immigration Service application to remain in the US, I mentioned the same thing. And I did not mention that, hey, I become Christian, I cannot go back to Egypt. My case was about marrying an American citizen, and I got divorced. I need to stay in the US. So, starting from 2017, after I got my work permit, I know I said that before, but I need to repeat it because till now I'm unemployed, right? It's a career, it's a economic financial sabotage. It's deliberate act from the United States government to destroy my life, to destroy my self-confidence, to completely eradicate and eliminate me as a human in the hope of getting a hate crime as an asset when I will not commit it and I will never commit it. They need me to either kill myself from despair and isolation or neutralize me somewhere in a prison or in a psychiatric hospital, right? So 2017, my ex-wife took me to a McDonald's. I said that before. Surprisingly, there was no customers eating in this restaurant, but they were all filling forms to get a job. It's a hiring event, but I was told to go apply online. This gaslighting scene has continued with me. So in the US, in the shelters, here in Canada, right? I'm the one to be targeted with people who work. Remind me that they work. They got part-time jobs, they got full-time jobs, lots of money, $50,000, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, even how they control your environment. I'll get to that later. If I'm waiting for my caseworker, like in the US, people come and say, hey, wow, I got the job, I got the job, I got the job, I got the job, where I am blocked from jobs. I was blocked from employment by orders and control of the United States government, right? So, I submitted, I discussed in my previous submissions to the Canadians who know what happened, that I am not a man to stay jobless, right? Even when I lived in a Statesboro, completely isolated area, I learned a business intelligence software, and I quickly penetrated the Middle East market in Egypt, and I made money. I made thousands of dollars wire transfer, right? So I had no interest to stay jobless. I know how to make money. So, this is the tactics they apply, right? They want you desperate. And not only they remind me with the jobs that blocked for me, that I'm not working, right? They remind you of everything they take out from you, right? So they remind you of relationships. They isolate you and keep reminding you of others having relationships. This continued with me in Canada, right? Started in the US. They remind you of others having new phones, and you don't have a new phone. And the case with this in one of my submissions, why they block. So when I tried to get a new phone somehow, like I'm on Android 9, I need Android 12, or maybe, I cannot afford this iPhone, is that they need the image of a poor guy, right, who's holding an old phone. So when they smear me as he converted to Christianity to kind of get out of his poverty or stuff like that, they maintain this image, right? They need to preserve the image of a poor guy so they can succeed in their smear campaigns, right? Anyway, so this is me now. I'm the target to be reminded of others having life, continuing with their lives, working, saving money, having relationship, everything is fine, but I had none, right? Anyway, and they create some false, I submitted in one of my submissions, they tried to create false witnesses or make me paranoid about, oh, he's the guy, he's the one who loves to be isolated, or he's the one who's begging for relationships, but people don't like him. I don't know what they do from my behind, but they are masters of discrediting their targets, right? Now, so why they also weaponized the church, as I accused them of doing so. When I moved to the United States, I had no plans to become Christian. Even through my divorce, I had no plans to become Christian. I was an atheist, and it was since 2006 that I abandoned any religion, right? I was that guy that, all right, you go pray, you go pray, you go pray, you go to church, you go to mosque. I don't go any one of them. I was not totally convinced of the idea that we have a God. But I said that before, but I have to emphasis on it, right? So when I was going through the divorce, my manager at work referred me to church. This is how I went to church. I had no plans to become Christian or stuff like that. And I proved later that becoming a Christian was a full, extensive and comprehensive exercise for me. I haven't been fantasized by the theatrical performance of this Protestant church. I have been to the Catholic Church, and I have been to other black church, New Christian Outreach Ministry, and I did an exercise, right? When my mind was convinced, I became Christian. So these two, before I start video 10, why extraction tactics and cognitive dissonance. So let me start with cognitive dissonance. Why one of the greatest, most strongest weapon the CIA relies on, that nobody will believe you, because as psychologists know, because they have history and they master the art of psychological deception and manipulation. They know what's going on in the psychiatric hospitals. They have science, right? Is that 90% of reality is a 90% perception. So for normal people who have life, work, stuff like that, they go to the government, they finish their treatments quickly, blah, 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 stuff like that. They have this cognitive dissonance from my reality, because their reality are peaceful. My reality is invisible violence, covert operation to destroy a life of a man they hate, right? Because my ex-wife family, so she picked up a guy who speaks Arabic, and when I get to the U.S. to marry her, in my first 2 weeks, her family told me, "We hate you." Okay. So the goal was not to only destroy a man's life. They need a hate crime. But at risk of this kind of hate, right? Even if I would have to get angry in the United States and I committed a crime, or I have anger issues, by God's grace I don't. It's a miracle that I am still alive, right? It's a blessing that I was born in Kuwait. I don't necessarily adapt to hate feelings out of the dignity that I was born on, right? They will continue to torture you in prison, like they did to the Mauritanian. Yeah, in this movie. Right? Because they are narcissists, they are psychopaths, they are white supremacists. Well, this man in this movie was innocent. They know he was innocent from first year. Like even the security guards around him, they were like, "This man has nothing to do with what he have been imprisoned for," right? But they continue to torture him for years. They love torture. They love to hurt somebody, cause him pain, day and night, right? They love violence, right? And let's not forget that France in the 17th centuries, they sent their criminals and prostitutes to America. So I guess probably these are the criminals, the descendants of these criminals, because they are criminals. They like to kill, they're sadists, I don't know. My assumption might be wrong, but this might relate because I came to know about the history of the United States as a United States citizen, so this might relate to this might be the genetics of these criminals, right? So I finished with the extraction, why it was extraction, why it was weaponization. I proved that even till 2014 when I met my ex-wife, online, I had nothing to do with even chasing any American woman online. I was learning Turkish. I was even having a Turkish girlfriend, which I have submitted. Part of being alert to, I was probably smeared that I'm the guy who converted to Christianity to have a Western life. There's no such a thing as the free world that is exclusive to one country, right? The free world is everywhere. It's outside America as it's inside America. It's outside Europe as it's inside Europe. It's outside China as it's in China, Japan, India, name it. There's no such a thing, right? But this is how they manipulate people, right? Anyway, so most importantly, we discussed about the Truman Show. So Dr. Ramani agreed about. They use this tactic, so they manipulate your environment, right? They change manipulating the environment. The CIA loves deception. They admire deception. If you give a CIA agent an option to, okay, should I give you $1 billion or should you go kill somebody and nobody will know? I would rather kill somebody but nobody know, right? I would rather deceive somebody, hurt somebody, and walk around people as someone who committed a crime, whether killed somebody, hurt somebody, destroyed the life of someone, and I walk around people as normal human. And that's the mindset of my ex-wife, right? Because she had a master's degree in psychology. She'd been watching crimes and stuff like that she showed me a photo, and when she was 9, she was watching the same TV series about crime investigations, right? And what she loves the most is the criminals who has not been caught yet, identified yet, right? A case that is pending for 20 years, 30 years. This is the most intelligent thing in his mind, in her mind, that I can commit a crime, I can destroy someone's lives, kill someone, hurt someone, but walk around people, nobody knows, right? So these are the corrupt agent mindset in our CIA or whatever, FBI or whatever. So that's why they extract a man like me and you just exercise their psychopathy on him. It in the best interest, because if the FBI is involved, they don't respond to my complaints. I have international cases against the United States government. They are silent about it, though. So they think when they squeeze an Arab guy and they expect him to commit a hate crime or whatever, it's in the best interest of America. No, I don't know. So I talked about this. So most importantly, cognitive dissonance. I explained this. You will never believe that the CIA will come after you, change the environment. It is true. They change every place you go. to their own Truman Show. They control your reality, right? How narcissists control your reality. And they use real humans. So you will doubt your reality, right? What's going on, right? Do they go ahead before you? Yes. So I claim that the Swedish know before ahead of time that I'm coming, right? They snatch the passport, they shout at me, right? So they go before you. And let me go to the changing and manipulating environment examples here. So this is an example of a lady changed her name to hide her Arabic identity. When I changed my name, I did not hide my Arabic identity. I even did not hide my history in my resume. I submitted evidence that till the last moment I was applying for jobs with my history in the Middle East as an Arab. So let me change the environment, not psychological attacks. Yeah, so in Liverpool airport, get into the restroom, I get out, the entire floor and chairs are filled. No place for me to sleep, right? In the hospital, I spent about more than 9 hours not getting an X-ray on my chest after they kept hitting the wall and slamming it. Starting like 9 o'clock after 6 hours in the hospital. So many people came in. There were about 10 or something, sleeping on the desks to change my reality, as Dr. Ramani said, that getting an X-ray in Stockholm in this emergency hospital in Sweden, the highest numbers of doctors per individual, like for every 100 Swedish, there's 10 doctors. I cannot get an X-ray, and people are lining up. They are sleeping in the hospital to get an X-ray. So I was meant to sleep in the hospital, to act like them, till maybe morning to see if my turn has come to get an X-ray on my broken sternum, right? So they use these tactics to keep you sleep deprived, to convince you that you can sleep in the airport, you have to sleep in the hospital, but most importantly is to manufacture the hardship in your life. Everything is hard to get, everything is hard to get, extremely difficult to get. So the speed of firing and hiring, manufactured shame attacks, this is not changing environment. Fear. Okay, let's go to the examples from the submissions. Yeah, so this example I have discussed before from Beale. So 2 hours, 50 maybe more than people has been served by humans. They submit the same papers in the service center in New York. They walked out respectfully, received services, but me, I was told when my turn has come to make a phone call. So changing your environment, as right, we'll not see it here, as Dr. Ramani said, which is here. See, they control your reality, right? So here, this is how the CIA dehumanize someone, deny his human rights, deny his livelihood, deny his they exclude you from life, right? They exclude you from being a human being, living, exists, have life as normal as everybody else, to downgrade you, to dehumanize you. So in this example, they controlled the reality by faking a theatrical performance from a man who came here, he shouted so hard, nobody is answering my call, right? So I walk out from this center, I tried to call, nobody's answering me, because they are now convinced, they manipulate my mind that this is normal in America. Extremely normal. So I should deny my reality that all those people have come here, they received services, they walk out same as mine, same papers, but the reality that the CIA needs to put in my mind is other Americans, their calls are not also answered, and your hardship is normal, right? And this ignorance from calls, as I have explained in my previous videos, has extended here in Canada, right? It was Ontario Works, the supervisor that told me your caseworker will never call you. When they created a crisis mode, as I explained before in the reception center, this Matilda from Pierre region, she told me, nobody will answer you. And it's true. The shelter, other shelters did not answer me. The intake did not answer me. I wrote this even in my emails to one of the shelter managers. But as I shared before, this kind of call and ignorance, they rely on it to create despair. Nothing is working in your life. Go kill yourself. You are not human. No one is respecting you. Stuff like that. So this is an evidence. It's not me, all right? It's the psychologists prove that they like to control your reality, right? Because it's a matter of perception, and most of the time they use new rules, right? Also. So controlling reality, gaslighting what really looks like. This is also about controlling reality. The smear campaign here, Dr. Ramani talks about, they go before you. And let's hear this example from Dr. Ramani. Yeah, okay.
For example, let's say you're going through a divorce with them and the settlement is not what they wanted it to be, they will lose their minds. And it really does become a vendetta. In a way, a smear campaign is a narcissistic person launching the worst punishment that they can think of, which is to ruin someone's reputation, because narcissistic people care so desperately about what people think of them. It can feel like the ultimate revenge for them to bring someone down in this way. A narcissistic person looking for revenge doesn't relent. And I know this may bum some of you out, but these smear campaigns can last a long time, like years in some cases. And people will wonder why the narcissistic person doesn't lose steam. Obviously.
So, as I internationally claimed, under the U.S. influence, there's no international organization who recognize these claims. The U.S. Government is in relentless mission to destroy me, right? Everywhere I go, and the greatest weapon they use is I become a Christian, right? That's how they weaponize the church, right? And we even Dr. Ramani referred about the chain of disappointments, the chain of betrayals. So I trust even people here in the reception center 2 months before they transfer me, that they will take the right action. I'm in Canada, as in the US, reception centers, evaluation centers, we move on to employment shelters, we move on to another phase. There's first phase, second phase. They betrayed me and they told me, we will evict you, and by law, we will evict you in the cold. So Dr. Ramani not only confirmed that they go before me, she confirmed also that they change the environment they love. They can even bring a new truck, anything, right? They love it. So the CIA loves to deceive a man like me more than protecting the Americans. There are criminals in America. They don't hack their devices. They don't change their environment. They don't do it. They like to deceive a man like me. They are busy. They love it, right? Because they are narcissists, right? As we have shared before. So changing the environment, smear campaigns, smear campaigns is like they go before you and they continue to smear you relentlessly. They don't want to stop, right? The moment I become Christian, the CIA guarantees that the Egyptians and the Egyptian government and family and even the Arab world will abandon me, right? It's a weapon. He left Islam, he became Christian, right? The irony is when I was not praying back in the Middle East, which is the reality of this madness going on in this world. So there are so many people in Egypt, even especially in United Emirates or all these Gulf countries, they don't pray, they don't go to the mosque, they don't practice Islam, but they are still Muslims, right? Which is nominal. We call them nominal, like in Turkey, right? In Turkey in Ramadan, you can find restaurants open and people are eating. They don't have to fast, right? But once you getting identified as a Christian, you left Islam, which is both are equal. Like in Islam, if you don't pray, you're an infidel. Prayers is a must, right? Because you are establishing the faith. It's not that you just can be nominal by ID. No, you have to pray, right? Which is awesome because which is like representing a faith, right? So those who pray are establishing, representing their faith, what they believe in. It's real, right? It's like when a woman wears a hijab but does not wear tight clothes. She is kind of being conservative. I don't know the English word, by the way. There's another English word, but I don't remember it. Instead of the other one who wears a hijab, because in the Arab world, even in Egypt, we criticize those women, right? So people who maintain their faith are establishing it. So they know that this is a weapon, right? The CIA knows that this is the greatest weapon they will know, use against me. They smear me with it. They use it in different ways. He converted to Christianity for money. He converted to Christianity to have a Western life, maybe living with a outside marriage with a woman, something I've done before moving to the U.S. Since I was, anyway, I'm not bragging. It's like I get to identify this by way of people talking to me there. So yes, they change your reality, they come before you as I see here. So let me get to the examples. So publicizing persecute. I know this is not example, but the AI said that me now doing these videos, as I publicize my story, they will dismiss real persecution as delusion. He's delusional. That's why United Nations, Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, Amnesty International, everybody is not helping me under the influence of the United States government, because they need to prove that, hey, my persecution is just a matter of delusion, right? It's not Darvo where after I complained on X that I'm not receiving legal services, NYPD came after me with black cars giving me a ticket that I was not guilty of. It's not Darvo, it's not under control, it's not coercive. No, 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 you're delusional. This was normal. 1.5 years, sorry, contacting more than 5-7 non-profit organizations receiving Action NYC funds. You are under poverty line and they should have helped you in your USCIS immigration case is a normal thing in America, right? Everything is normal. So it's a delusion. So it's not only the ChatGPT here. Copilot agreed about this. Psychiatric dismissal or gas lighting through diagnosis has been used historically to silence whistleblower, dissidents, and survivors of abuse. Right? This is ChatGPT and even, yeah, this is ChatGPT and Copilot, victims of intelligence abuse. Right? So let me get back to the examples because this was distracting. Of changing environment. It's mentioned here somewhere. Smear campaigns, I mentioned about the airports, meaning at Doha, Qatar. Alright, targeted stalking. Okay, let me get to, okay, I mentioned appeal. Let's mention about NADA. For example, here, yeah, I said this before about visual exclusion. I'll get to these are all the tactics. This is visual exclusion here. 38 and there's 58, I guess, yeah. So in the US, for example, when I was tortured with sleepless night, I cannot sleep. Even when I try to drink coffee, I go to the library beside the shelter. I cannot hold on my head. I cannot, apply for jobs. I have to tailor my resume for every job. I need to sleep. So I go back to the shelter and the room is empty. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. My roommate comes in. Hi, hello, music. Let me sleep, right? They don't want you to sleep because, as I mentioned before, when you are sleep deprived, you are the most vulnerable. They caught you off guard. You are completely off guard. So they can harass you as much as they can. And this is my accusation against the United States government that they have deployed this harassment every day almost when I was in the shelters to get me angry and commit a crime. Right? So I asked to be transferred, and I asked to be transferred back to the assessment shelter, right? Because I've seen even undocumented immigrants, they identified themselves as undocumented immigrants, living in this shelter, right? It's an overnight, not like a hotel I was staying in, but the dorm had about 20 people sleeping in the dorm, so I thought this is more um, resilient to if one guy was playing games, watching videos with loud music, or talking over the phone the whole night, the other 19 guys will fight that. Right? They will not allow this in the dorm. They did this in the other dorm, but the dorm was about 8 beds. But in this large dorm, I didn't think that would work, and I was like, okay, I don't want a hotel. I want to sleep. I don't mind overnight shelter, but I want to sleep, right? So I asked them to be transferred back. They delayed my transfer for 3 months. You need to break something to be transferred. You need to break something. You need to break something, right? Bring your gun and come, blah, blah, blah. But then, in one of my meetings, they let me see someone else, a caseworker offering different location options to be transferred to immediately. So someone came to the shelter. He's not happy being in this hotel shelter, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to let me, stage over hearings, selective or visual exclusion, or how they treat others in favor of you. And he was just, I'm not happy, I need to be transferred. Right away, we will transfer you. Where do you want to go? There are multiple locations, one in Manhattan, one 5-star service, right? So for me, it's like, what the hell? Like, I've been tortured, I'm sleepless, and I'm telling you, get me back to the assessment shelter, and this guy, you are offering him options, and you will transfer him immediately, and the guy disappeared from the shelter as to make me believe that he was favored over you. These are the tactics that the CIA deploy beside erasing your identity to dehumanize you. Where is this? Yeah, we discussed about this. Yeah, it's in the analysis. So, for example, in the UK, in Liverpool, I was waiting for a bus to go to sleep in a hotel, and the bus driver, he was wearing sunglasses and a hat, right? So he asked me, where are you heading? Because this bus is I'm going to drive only about 3 stations, about half a mile away. Well, the British don't use the word miles, right? And I worked in Dubai with British. I worked with them, like I lived with them. I worked with them, not only at BWC office, they also were in the government of Abu Dhabi in the educational department. I met them everywhere, not only in Dubai and PwC, and the companies and the government agencies and stuff like that. This same man, who was an agent, not only that he spoke American English, he later acted like a officer, and he engaged in a conversation with me, right? Uh, what are you doing here? Stuff like that. So they do these things to know where you're heading, stuff like that, because I had a, like, my location is not easily tracked maybe in the UK, I don't know, but they hacked my phone. So but they need to confirm. Even in when I escaped New York, they delayed one of the trips between two buses in Greyhound, and there's one man who came and confirmed, what's your last destination? I said, Austin, Texas. And he did something that confirmed to me that he was an agent, but I cannot share it. This is cognitive dissonance in society. This is what they rely on, right? Skepticism from others. It feels like a systematic erasure of your. But anyway, yeah, most people cannot accept the institutions would harass an ordinary person, and it shatters their worldview. Anyway, let me get back to the examples. So, what do you say by publicizing my case? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mentioned about sleeping in the airport. This is controlling your environment. Yeah, so this man is stalkers who appeared 2 times but covering their head with different clothes. So there's one man, black man, who was part of 4 people trying to gaslight me at the bus. When I tried to escape them, he came down, he smoked, but he eavesdropped on my call. He knows where I'm heading, right? Because I was on a speaker. So he then appeared in the intake meeting, where covering his head. So they use this tactic to let you not identify the same agent twice. So usually when an agent will appear twice, the second time or the first time, they will be wearing a hat and most probably wearing sunglasses. This agent who appeared to me in Liverpool riding the bus, saying to me, half a mile, well, British don't say a mile. He was wearing sunglasses around 5 p.m. at night. The Brits living in Liverpool, they don't wear sunglasses in the morning. Not even in the morning, right? But he actually wears eyeglasses. So when he appeared again like a police officer, so you can identify him from his jaw, how he looked like. But they think you are, as I said before, America for them is like the Truman, it's the show, like it's a completely alien thing. You are used to see Arabs, you are used to Arabic language, you cannot identify English language, British from American. They live in the world of control, coercion, and deception, right? They are not fully, and I can guarantee there's no intelligence agency in this world that 100% know about their targets, right? So they tease me with hiring so many Israelis because in Egypt, our mukhabarat promote hate against Israel since they tried to take Sinai from us. But my friends was giving me a Jewish name, Leisha, when I was young. So they don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so men appear twice. This happened in Raleigh, North Carolina, from the bus to the intake meeting. And this man also was, I can share this, he was highly focused on me. Like when I looked at him, he immediately looked away. On USA and one in Europe, another man, black man. So a mall with all white people. In Sweden, life is all white, right? So, but half of them, by the way, is divorced. The Swedish women are far independent than American women, right? So I investigated even as like to submit my case, is like I had no intention to marry a Swedish woman. Even Swedish women don't marry even their Swedish people, and they divorce them. 65% of them are divorced. So by any means, no one having a marriage dreams will go to Sweden. He will not end up with a Swedish woman anyway. But even the small jobs, like in the US, where you go to Walmart, stuff like that, there are so many black people working. You can get into McDonald's and the entire team is black, right? So in a mall with an old white people, when they hold, I tried to change money to get jackets. It's too cold. I'm dying from cold, right? It's too cold. I need money. They took my passport. I cannot change money without a passport. So until I kept complaining in that camp, the shelter, refugee camp or whatever, they directed me to the mall, and there was one man who actually, I get lost in the mall. He told me, you can go this way. So I found a black man, and he spoke American English. It's like very, it's like anybody. I still lived in the U.S. Like I still lived in the U.S. I know how Americans talk, right? I interacted with them, right? So, and he told me, no, I don't need your passport, in a way that it was theatrical. So from all the mall, I've been lost in the mall, up and down stuff. Everybody was white, other than this guy. He was black, right? And he later appeared moving. He's pushing. He also covered his head. He's tall enough. His hands are clear. So when I saw the same hands giving me the money and the passport, and his nose, and then I saw him holding someone who's disabled, pushing his chair. It's the same hand, same nose, same height. He was tall, but he covered his head. So it's probably a very old systemic way of deception when they want to appear twice, but that's what happened to me. It was so much stupid from this American agent who drove the bus and asked me where you're heading. So I showed him my location. He told me, no, I'm driving. It's the same bus number. I should have get into this bus. He should go where I'm heading, right? He told me, no, I'm just driving 3 stations. It will be half a mile. You are more than that, right? So they confirmed my address. He was wearing a hat and sunglasses, like at 5 o'clock in Liverpool in around April or May. The Brits in the morning in Liverpool, they don't wear sunglasses. Like, you can hardly find anyone wearing sunglasses in the morning. I've been in the airport, right? I stayed 3 days in the airport, right? So, and there was an agent there who kept teasing me about, I'm waiting for my Turkish girlfriend, because I bragged somehow or talked too much with my ex-wife about my Turkish girlfriend, and I was in the position of, okay, she didn't want to marry me, so if you don't want to marry me, just don't play games, right? Because I left Turkey even though I was living with her, because she didn't want to get married, right? And this is how they know, how they extract you, because they know you have this Eastern culture where you're a man who wants to get married. And I explained to my ex-wife that I'm tired of casual relationships, right? Like in Dubai, not only you can have a girlfriend, like it's too much, right? In Egypt, I also have one, and she's been back and forth. We had like 5 years in Dubai, and so I'm tired of these casual relationships and stuff like that, and one nights and stuff like that in Dubai. I need to get married. And when you get into all these relationships, at the end, women's bodies has nothing to do with the mentality of a woman who needs to create a house, who needs to maintain a husband and have a married life. Has nothing to do. After years and years, I don't know, it's just me, maybe other men are same, but I guess so. The value of a woman, because even in America, even everywhere, there are so many married people for long times, and their wives are not that super blah 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 blah, right? But they are wives. So they know this from my ex-wife, so they kept teasing me with it, right? Because I told my ex-wife, I thought my Turkish girlfriend was, this is my last, I moved to Turkey to be with her, not only to learn this Turkish language and stuff like that. She actually told me, if you don't come to me to Turkey, I'm coming to Egypt. I said, okay, I'm coming to Turkey. So, yes, changing reality, control your reality, is not a matter of paranoia, or it's not a matter of delusion. The CIA loves deception. They use real humans to deceive you, to change your reality, to make you believe your hardship in life is not manufactured, is real. The best example is this guy who uh, shout at the employees in the service center in New York that they are not answering the calls. The other best example is in the emergency room, hospital. It's a long hospital. I even audited the floor. So I went to the map. I came to know how many sections, how many beds, like, they have, uh, it's like this. So it was like this, and these are sections, right? And here are beds, here are beds, there's an office here, there's some sort of a table here. So the doctors use these computers to see the patients and come out. They see their patients and then come out, and people on the desk here, they receive the patients, right? So I audited the entire floor. By any means, in Sweden, it's almost impossible to sleep in the hospital or spend 9 hours to get an X-ray. Impossible. Impossible. After I audited how the operation works on this floor, how many nurses, how many doctors, and stuff like that. Anyway, so I didn't get an X-ray, and I'm still not getting an X-ray on my knee here. Right? So, yeah, this is also one example. The mandatory meetings in shelters. Like a shelter has 200, 300 people, but the mandatory meeting is 10 people. So what will happen was the another 290 people, or, it's left like this. But this group intimidation or coercion, they use other people to manipulate your reality to convince you that, hey, this is real. So Truman Show, Dr. Ramani proved it. Environment, they change your environment, they go ahead of you, they use mistakes. We discussed this before. All the administrative sabotage is about mistakes. Here in Canada, my caseworker, I was off. You have a mandatory phone call, right? Nobody told me, you cannot close my file before you make sure that I already had this phone call with somebody else, or, try to call me again, right? If you've been at home and not at work. Crisis mode, I shared example of what happened here in Canada. Anger issues, they want you to get, let me get to the tactics. So sonic attacks, this is when there's no evidence, they love it because the burden of proof is what makes their target kill themselves, right? So this is an example of Boeing engineers, right? So in business, as I discussed before, if the cost of compensating dead lives in the airplane is less than building a highly perfect airplane, then they will risk human lives instead of paying money, right? And Americans are very good about saving costs, right? Like, for example, in Manhattan, you can find a tower on Hudson River for $4,500 a month's rent. You will not have a space to clean your clothes. There's no space for dishwasher or stuff like that, because by removing the space, they are selling more units, right? So the burden of proof of these quality assurance engineers, when they testified in Congress, is the one that killed them. And then in the news, they said that they wanted to tell the whole world the truth, right? So me now, in their minds, I'm supposed to carry the evidence, the weight of evidence, that I have to tell the whole world I was tortured. But who tortured you? Administrative diffusion, like it's like in the Ontario Works, so many people contacted me. They also used so many men to slam the doors and got my ears ruptured, got my heart muscle not bounding like before, stuff like that. I only need one government to protect me. I don't need to tell the whole world, right? But unfortunately, they worship America. I guess something like that. Sleep deprivation, gaslighting, staged overhearing. They love staged overhearing because you cannot control your ears listening to others, even especially when they hold microphones and stuff like that. Stage overhearing, selective enforcement of the rules, identity erasure, right? Proxy provocation, administrative sabotage, forced unemployment. When you are in an individual relationship, narcissistic relationship, your life will continue if you dismiss it. But Dr. Ramani, in her video, confirmed that they can continue to come after you, right? Let's get back to the tactics they use. But when the government is after you, you will not work. You will not work. Seriously. They will block you from any job. Even if you find a job, they will fire from the job. Even as cash, they will fire from this job, right? Dog walking, they block you from dog walking. Normalizing hardship, they send you people. Like I was expelled from Norway. There was an American on the same time. He came after me, right? But then he was expelled and he couldn't communicate with me textually, right? I was also expelled 7 years. So they made me think that getting expelled from Norway is normal. There's a due process, right? Those Americans, they can try to kill me again to silence me. Nobody should know. They love covert operation. Everything is secrecy. They live in a secret world, right? They might have been even an agent who have killed somebody, but even his boss doesn't know about it, right? They like to walk around people secretly being criminals, but nobody knows, right? So you don't know those corrupt minds, what they can do to you. So don't send me back to the US before you completely investigate my case. So normalizing hardship, induced hypervigilance. You become the detective of yourself. This is something Dr. Ramani discussed. Yeah, so we discussed about controlling your reality and stuff like that. Weaponized psychiatry, paranoia, undifferentiated schizophrenia, stuff like that, right? And because they love to torture people, if I were to get angry, by God's grace, I don't have this anger issues, but it's by God's grace, it's extremely difficult, extremely, I lost my teeth, right? If I get to prison, they might have continued to torture me for the next 20, 30 years. They might have, I believe there are people there, they are torturing them, no problem, right? And the FBI, stuff like that. So I don't have to share this again. We talked about these. Yeah, so now I covered almost about, yeah, this is only one thing left here. So many AIs, I don't have to show the AIs too much. They found my case admissible to the United Nations, to the Norwegians based on the rules, to enter American Commission on Human Rights, but they keep denying my case. So this is like, if the governments did not protect me, the human rights people, Amnesty International, they could also control my email. They have access to my email, right? So, yeah, this ends episode 10. If there will be episode 11, I guess, I will shoot this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode if there will be a next episode.